So we all know my trim's questionable at the best of times, and we've all unfortunately witnessed what can happen if it's not looked after. I end up looking like what would happen if I'm Alex and a mop had a kid, and then that kid had an emo phase. Yet what you may not have known is that I've not always had this fringe as my trim. Oh no, boys and girls, I used to have a quiff. A bit like someone else we all know, but we'll get back to him in a minute. Over the years, my quiff developed and evolved. It never looked good, but still, until I eventually binned it off and got this fringe instead. But why? And what has that got to do with this video? Well, boys and girls, what lies underneath this fringe definitely relates to this video, because look at the size of that forehead. Look at it. Bloody receding. I'm only 19. Man's got a bloody M on his forehead. However, as much as my football picture of a forehead can get me down, there's one thing that keeps me from being up all night crying about it, and that's the fact that I'm not alone. So many other people also struggle with the McDonald's hairline, like obviously my dad, and of course, F1 drivers. So once again in this channel, we're answering the big questions. And today that is, which 2020 F1 driver has the worst hairline? However, I can't do this alone. I need someone who knows his stuff. An expert, like a middle-aged man. But where am I going to find one of those?
Aiden, you're a
So we're going to start off at number 20 with the driver with the best hairline on the grid.
Georgie boy's coming in at P1 or P20, however you want to look at it. He's had quite the glow up, to be fair, since GP2 days. He looked a bit gormless. Sorry, George. But now, handsome as you like. Great hairline. And, you know, very much at home sitting in P20.
Now out there on track, Esteban Ocon has not got much going for him. However, his hairline's at least one positive. Your boy has got a tiny forehead. However, you could still fit all of his achievements from this year and all the reasons Mercedes should hire him all onto that forehead and still have room to spare.
Charles in P18. Best looking bloke. Great hair, great hairline. Ticks all the boxes. Very jealous.
Now, despite the fact he's currently in his 6th season in Formula 1, Max, of course, is still only 23. His hairline's nice and healthy, forehead nice and small. Ideal, Maxi boy. You can see why Christian loves him so much.
Next up, we have my driver of the year, Pierre Gasly. Again, winning life at the minute. Great looking bloke, decent hairline. Good job, Pierre.
Now, in the straightest way possible, Carlos Sainz is something out of a Spanish fashion magazine. A truly gorgeous bloke with a full head of hair and a decent hairline to match. No real signs of receding yet, however, we'll keep an eye on it, considering the fact this is what his dad looks like. So, looks like it's all downhill from here, Carlos.
Money can buy you a lot of things in life, and one of those is a decent hairline, because Lance, well, he's young, so he should have a decent hairline, and his locks are pretty luscious, aren't they? Unfortunately, his daddy Lawrence can't really say the same, but good hairline, billions. I'm taking billions.
Now, Alex Albon's another young gun on the grid, and thus you'd expect to have a fairly healthy hairline, which would be a fair prediction. However, I think you're all forgetting one major factor. He drives for Red Bull. That stress can't be good for anyone's hairline, and already we can start to see some of the effects of it. I'd say cut your losses while you can, Albon. Jump out of there and get somewhere where your hairline's going to recover.
Antonio Giovinazzi. Now, great hairdo from the Italian Jesus here, but his hairline, he got some McDonald's vibes going on, you know. But all in all, he saves it with a quality do. Well done, Antonio.
Now, many people, including myself, often use their hair to hide their receding hairline, keeping it nice and long and fluffy just to make sure you cover up all that extra skin. And one driver who kind of does this, which did surprise me, was Lando Norris. Now, off the bat, Lando's hairline looks nice and healthy. You know, look, he's got a small little forehead. You can't see much. However, under all that hair is a semi-big forehead. Well, I mean, it's nothing too extreme. Still pretty standard, but those sides are definitely working their way back, Lando. So give it 5 years, you'll look like Seb.
Now, Sergio. Well, I've never really noticed his hairline before, to be honest, but when Aiden brought it to my attention, I was like, oh, actually, he's kind of receding a bit, but then he is 30, 31, whatever he is. He's older than me. Believe it or not, there are people older than me, Aiden. Funny joke there. But it's not too bad. He's still got very thick hair. You know, you can't see him going bald for a while, so Sergio, kind of middle of the field.
Now, we all love Daniel Ricciardo. However, he's not a young boy anymore. The Aussie's now 31 and it's starting to show on his hairline. I mean, it's trimmed as well to cover up most of the time. Yet when we do get a good look at that forehead, it all becomes clear. I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, it's just slightly bigger than the average honey badger.
Nicholas Latifi. Hairline's okay, but forehead's massive, which again, takes one to know one, but it is a nice arrow straight hairline, so he gets points for that. Now,
with Kimi being the oldest bloke in the 2020 grid, you may have expected him to be slightly higher on our list. However, I was quite shocked by how healthy his hairline is. However, obviously, you still have that receding bit here, a nice big forehead, but all in all, it could definitely be worse.
Daniel Kvyat is only 20. Daniel Kvyat's 26. He's younger than me. Don't say it, but yeah, his hairline is kind of starting to escape from him. This is what I've got to look forward to soon, which is great. The side profile angle doesn't really do him any favours, does it?
Now, K-Mag's the same age as our mate Tommo, and he actually has the same sort of trim as well. You know, the little quiff, the receding sides. What do you reckon, lad?
You're a little f***ing wanker. Mr. Roman Grosjean. None of us are very kind to Roman, but he is an incredibly wholesome man, but he is well into his 30s now, and that reflects in the hairline. Sorry, Roman, it's P4. Well, P4 would be a great result, actually, for him.
Now, Valtteri's one of the older drivers on the grid, and by that I mean he's in his 30s, and with that age does come some issues, including your hairline trying to escape your eyebrows at any cost. To be fair, it's not that much worse than some of the others we mentioned, but because his hair is so light and dense on his head, it makes it seem so much worse. At least for once he's beaten Lewis, though. Well, beating him in the fact that his hairline isn't as bad, but also, like, considering this list is counted from 20 to 1, he still loses to Lewis, so...
So we've got just 2 drivers left.
And they just happen to be the 2 most successful drivers on our grid, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel.
Who's gonna come out on top?
Well, we can reveal that in second place...
With the second worst hairline in F1, it is... You can do some editing for that. Sebastian Vettel. No one's debating how wholesome and wonderful Seb is as a man, but clearly the time at Ferrari has done a bit of a job on him. Again, another McDonald's hairline. He's certainly loving it. Wrinkling up as well, which again takes one to know one. And he just does look a bit like a dad, which is, I mean, what a dad to have. Imagine that. Imagine Seb being your dad.
And so, once again, it seems like no matter what it is, Lewis Hamilton's just bound to come out on top, as he wins the crown for the worst hairline in the 2020 F1 grid. Now, there's some debate whether or not Lewis had a hair transplant in the past, considering it went from looking like this to looking like this. Yet the 7-time champ claims that self-care and some help from a specialist has allowed him to recover his trim without any surgery. Don't happen to have his number, do you, Lewis? So for the sake of this video, we'll see he hasn't had surgery and just go with what his hairline looks like now. Which, to be fair, still isn't looking great, boss man, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we got a good amount of surface area here. I reckon like 2 centimeters square for every race win. However, Lewis is smart though. Despite having the worst hairline on the grid, he somehow pulls it off. Like if this list was counting down the best trims on the grid, Lewis would probably still be up there. However, saying that, when we get that side profile, I don't know if we can save that one, boss. So, there you have it. There is the answer to the all-important question. Which current F1 driver has the worst hairline? Thank you very much to Tommo F1 for joining me for this all-important video. When I was planning it, I thought there was no better option because, like, look at this forehead. Look at his forehead. We're clearly the experts here. But before we leave him for good, any final words, Tommo?
I've got to say, Aiden, this is one of the more out there video ideas. It's not what I put on my channel, but you're welcome to it, and it was fun. I'll be sure to post it on my YouTube community so you get, you know, a few views, all right? I'll help you out.
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
So yeah, boys and girls, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. My name's Aiden, this has been Mr. Aiden's Big Forehead, and I'll see you lot next time.
Love you, bye. If we're going to be judging hairlines, I mean, mine's it's kind of escaping here a bit. I'm quite concerned, so the hat's firmly staying on.